Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Vernon, joined by my guy, G Sports. G, what's happening?
What it do?
Man, we're going to talk a little LSU recruit news. Some people are nervous. I'm not going to lie. We're going to have to dive in. Is it something to pump your nerves about? Is it just optics? Are we just watching the Kenny Darby dance in front of us? He was just at Alabama. You've been seeing the posts. You've been seeing Caden Durham react. You've been seeing all the rumors, all that. We'll dive into every single thing. I'll give you my three areas I think LSU should focus on this summer. You'll give me your three areas, and then we'll have a nice discussion about that. Then afterwards, NCAA baseball regional update. I got an interesting topic that I'm gonna pick your brain about as we get towards the end of the stream. Taysom Hill, is he gonna be recovered? Is he gonna be an option, or is he gonna be gone? A lot of conversations to be had in New Orleans. It's like a carousel constantly spinning. But as per usual, live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30 p.m. Hit us with a like button. Drop any comments you got throughout the stream. We'll pop them up, react to you, give you a little bit of attention. Let's talk about Kenny Darby, though, G. Visited Alabama, like I said, this past weekend. If you don't know who Kenny Darby is, if you've been living under that recruiting rock, he's a number 7 prospect in Louisiana. He had a damn crazy year, G. When I saw these statistics, I didn't believe him. I ain't gonna lie. Per Sportskeeda, I'm gonna put their name on it just in case this was a little bit off. 80 catches in his junior year, 22 touchdowns. I looked back even to the sophomore year. 25% of his receptions are in the end zone. Think about that. A quarter of the times that you put your hands around that ball, it's in pay dirt. It results in 6 points. He seems like a surefire weapon that I feel if you pair him with a Keys, a Jabari Mack, if you bring that trio in, it's wide receiver you across the board. There's no debate. There's no discussion. There's no more room for Ohio State or whoever the case may be, Texas. I think LSU would take that by a mile. You saw them working out at the Elite Academy, and Clyde Edwards and Jamar and Burrow put in Baton Rouge. They were all together, the whole trio, catching passes, running routes, yada, yada, yada. But here is the storyline that I think makes a little worry pop up in some people, and rightfully so. Kenny's been committed since November of 2024, right? Reopened his recruitment because Alabama and the Crimson Tide came knocking. And I get it. It's hard to turn down a program like that, especially when they've been sustained greatness for so long. Sure, yeah, they're in a kind of a limbo period now that Kalen DeVore's there. It's still a great university. On July 4th, we're going to find out exactly where he's going, or at least exactly what his final commitment will be, if there's going to be a decision, if something's going to change. I want to get your reaction to this, but before G, I open the floor to you. I want to point out one more thing. I don't know if you saw this, and I ain't trying to stir the pot, but he had a tweet that said it ain't what it looked like. Tiger emoji. That tweet is no longer on his Twitter profile. Is that leverage? Is that somebody telling him, "Hey, whoa, 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 don't go out there and tip your hand yet"? What is that all about? Well, should I be reading into that?
First of all, when did he decommit from LSU?
I don't think he decommitted. I think he just
Right.
opened his recruitment. So it ain't no leaving.
This goes back to what I've been saying for some years now, bro. When these LSU fans or whatever particular school got fans that get all excited when they get a commitment from a big time prospect, this is why I never get excited.
Never.
This is why I never put too much into it, because that shit don't be solid, bro.
Nope.
It don't be solid. And it's just funny. LSU offered Kenny Darby in November, like, and he committed like 3 days later. So I thought that was a little premature. All right. I thought that he should have took some time before he made that announcement, in my opinion, because you still had the rest of your junior year to go, plus the summer, plus the senior year, which I always tell kids they should commit before going into their senior year. But they offer you in November and you commit 3 days after they offer you. I just thought that was a little premature. And this is what you see. Now Bama comes in a month later after he commit to LSU. Now they start poking the bell. They start trying to put that full court pressure on him. And now he down there in Tuscaloosa visiting when he's supposed to be committed to LSU. And so I think you're looking at a situation where, do I think Bama won it? Yeah, I think Bama won it. But I think this is a little pissing contest right now. I think there's a situation to where Bama, like, that's our rival. if we could take one of their commitments from them and we ain't gotta face this kid, we gonna do it. And I think that's what you're seeing right now. I think that they probably going all in on Kenny Darby. I think he's a really, really good player. But I think it's not so much that Bama think he's in the upper echelon as far as like top prospects in the country. I think this is more about if we could steal away one of our rivals' commitments, this gonna be something that we can hang our hat on, poke our chest out a little bit. I think that's what you see right now.
Left hand in the cap.
Yeah. And I mean, from what I know about Bama's NIL department, it's pretty lucrative. So I'm pretty sure that's playing a factor into all of this. All in all, this is why I don't get excited when you get certain commitments. And I'm pretty sure, Cortez Hankton and Frank Wilson and Brian Kelly and them guys, Joe Sloan, I'm pretty sure they on eggshells right now, wondering if this is going to be the second commitment they didn't lost in the last month.
It could be rough. Like I got Charles in the chat is saying, shout out Charles, man, it's some game. Early commits mean zilch, nada, nothing. Wait until the contract is signed. You holding your breath the entire time. Look, they got some options though. I mean, even like let's say you bring in a Tristan Keys, a Jabari Mack, you still get a good enough 2026 class. So I guess my point is, if you lose one, it's not like you lose all. So I'm trying to shine a positive here. There is another wide receiver that came down to LSU this past week. Number 3 wide receiver in the country, Drake. Calvin Russell. 6'5", big frame, absolute monster. What's the word on the street with that? How's that feeling?
Calvin Russell, I mean, I know that LSU is one of his favorites. He definitely had a great time on his official visit from what I heard. LSU definitely has a shot at landing him. But again, we talking about an out-of-state kid. I forget where he's from. What's Calvin Russell from?
Let me give a double check here.
I don't think he's from Texas or nothing like that. I think he's from like the West Coast somewhere.
Florida.
Oh, he's from Florida.
He's from Miami.
From Miami. So you kind of know how that's gonna go, bro. You in the backyard of Miami, Florida State. LSU gonna have to really, really come with it to be able to land him. I think this is one of those situations to where if you do land a kid like that, he's looking at the big picture, like we always talk about. Unfortunately, that's not the times that we are living in. We're living in the NIL era, and I know that Florida State, and Miami roll a blank check out, bro. So that's what they're dealing with right now. And let's say Kenny Darby decides to decommit from LSU. That will leave Jabari Mack and Tristan Keys committed. And we all know that I've been saying this from the beginning. I'm very, very on the fence about Tristan Keys signing that piece of paper at the end of the day. I really am. I don't have a good feeling about it. Especially with what you're seeing what Ja'Kai Anderson just did. Now what you see Kenny Darby doing. At least Ja'Kai Anderson said, look, I'm a decommit. All right. I'm just not in favor of a kid being committed to a school and still going visit. I mean, if you're gonna do that, just decommit. And look, ain't nothing wrong with it. But it just it is you sending a wrong message to the staff. Yep. All right. Like they always say, when you committed, it's like a marriage. That's like if I say, look, I get on one knee and I ask this lady to marry me, but then I'm going out, I'm still dating. I'm not truly trying to marry you if I'm doing that. So I'm not downing Kenny Darby for going to Alabama and visiting and going to explore his options. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if that's what you're trying to do, just decommit. Just decommit, bro.
Keep it a buck.
Just decommit.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, if LSU say, look, I'm going to get this top receiver in the country that we think better than you, and we drop you, then that's going to be a whole other thing. Now you're going to see the mamas and the family getting all on social media blasting LSU. So it goes both ways, bro. And I understand both sides because I've been behind the scenes on both sides.
Yep.
So we gotta stop always trying to blame the schools and these coaching staffs for certain things they do and how they go about business. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We could do the same thing with some of these kids and these families, how they handle situations. You feel me? Again,
Yep.
I'm gonna reiterate this again because I know people like to take stuff out of context. Nothing wrong with Kenny Darby going to Alabama and visiting and exploring his options. You know, he doesn't have to go to LSU. If Alabama is a better situation for him and his family, that's what he should do. All I'm saying is, for kids in the future that's going through the recruiting process, if you know you want to explore your options and you're not so sure, just decommit, man, or don't commit and wait till you know for sure this is where you want to be.
I agree. And I do like the focus, what you're talking about in terms of what more than likely is Alabama's leading pitch. Gee, it's buku this. I mean, buku that. It's
Yeah,
hard to compete with the top.
yeah.
So
And look, let's say if Cortez Hankton got fired, or Cortez Hankton took a job somewhere else, or Joe Sloan took a job somewhere else, or something happened with Brian Kelly getting fired or something like that. Totally get it. Totally get it. Everybody that's been recruiting you since you committed is still on staff. I just don't understand the point of being committed and still going and visit other places.
I agree.
It don't make sense to me.
It's not necessarily a red flag, but it is a flag. It's something. It's something to take into account for sure. We'll wrap up this recruiting segment real quick. Number 2 rated athlete in the country, Jalen Lott, came down. That's another one of those ones that's got a lot of fish trying to swim around them. You got Texas, you got Oregon, you got USC. I mean, that's straight dogs. And then Bo Bentley, number 7 quarterback. We've talked about him a little bit. Came down. They rolled the purple carpet out for him. You got Nussmeier out there with him in Tiger Stadium. You got Cotton Hurley out there with him in Tiger Stadium. Joe Sloan, obviously, a part of this as well. I think it was a successful weekend for LSU recruiting. Before we wrap up with this, any big news, any big takeaways, big comments? What's your final reflection on the last few weeks of visiting? As you got some decisions that might be made here in the next 2 months.
The big fish, man, Lamar Brown. You know, the big time athlete out of U-High, bro. I know he went to Miami on an official visit. No disrespect to Kenny Darby. I really like him. I think he will be a really good Tiger. But they can't lose Lamar Brown, bro. Can't lose him. That'll be back-to-back classes. You lost the top-ranked kid. Last year, Jakeem Stewart. This year, Lamar Brown. You can't have it happen. You can't lose 2 in the last 2 years. It just can't happen.
He's so versatile too. Like I ain't never seen nobody on both sides of the trenches. Actually, I lie. I have seen one. He playing on Sunday. Shout out Big Tuka. Because when we were at Terrebonne, they put him on the O-line every now and then. But I mean, look, dude's really at ULAB doing this every game. All game.
Dude was on a 4x1 relay moving, bro.
Man, he burning me.
Running with real life sprinters. Come on, man. Lamar Brown, bro, you can't lose it. You can't lose it. You can't lose it. You can't have it.
I agree. That's one of them ones. I don't care what you got to do. Lock the door. Put a damn anvil on his ankle. Do something. Stay, please, Lord.
What TD Jakes did, he put a lock on the door for the church until they get it 10% ties to the church. They got to do the same thing. Lamar Brown, man, go to his house. Go get him on LSU campus. Lock the doors, man. You ain't leaving until you sign this piece of paper.
Nada. Gotta stay. Gotta put the straps on him. Let's talk about what we think LSU should focus on. We saw spring. We're getting through this summer period. Fall camp's right around the corner. Obviously, you're going to have SEC media days. You're going to have a lot of other things in between them. But you're about, I'd say, 2 months away from really the most pivotal time prior to the season. And there's going to be some shakeups. You got new arrivals. You got people coming back from injury. I'll highlight some of them, the new arrivals from the 2025 class. You're going to see Keelan Moses, linebacker, Aiden Anden, corner, and then JT Lindsey, running back. That's my favorite new arrival out of all of them. There are a lot of talented players, but JT Lindsey, I think, is he gonna see that field a little bit in terms of supplementation. And you never know, G, because I mean I always bring it back to the Caden Durham situation. Dude was on the 4th spot in the depth chart. You never know when your names will get called. You never know when the opportunity arises. I think he could be in a very good situation. Now, as far as the linebacker room, now I'm hyped. We're talking about all this pressure. We're talking about the defense getting better. We never got to see it in its 100%, full entirety. Everybody healthy, everybody on the field, everybody on the same page. You get Harold Perkins back in there. You get Whit Weeks back in there. Now you're pairing him with that cornerback room, that D line. Now you get to really Mad Hatter this out. I'm excited to see because you've been watching Harold Perkins on Instagram drop some footage, drop some training videos, and you want to know if he's back from the ACL.
I like
Ain't no
that change of
question about
direction.
it.
I'm seeing a lot of good change of direction from him.
Ain't no
I'm seeing
worries.
some acceleration. I'm seeing him looking real nimble. I don't know. Fo look like he back, and if Fo back, they in trouble this off season. I mean, this season coming. Ooh,
I,
if Fo back, if Fo moving how he looked in that video with him training with the guys they got surrounding on him,
I like how creative you can get with him in the scheme because
gonna be nasty. Gonna be nasty.
everybody G has been fixating on the fact that like he's not in these packages to get the pressure to chase the quarterback, all that stuff. Talk about how you can use Harold Perkins in this scheme, and also now that you got a defensive line, now that you got your front all tied in, now that you got the DBs you can rely on, what does that do for him in terms of opening up the scheme for Perk?
What I like about what they did in this portal class, you ain't got multiple guys that can rush the passer. Fireburn from Florida, Jamari Butler from Nebraska, uh, Patrick Payton from Florida State, and then you still got Rutherford coming back, who was very promising. You got multiple guys that could get after you. And when you have that, now you're not relying on Perk to be the one to always get the pressure on the quarterback. So now you could do different things with him and move him around and not be so pressed to say, man, we got to put him on the edge to get some pressure. Because if we don't put him on the edge, we ain't gonna get no pressure. You got multiple guys that can do that. So then he gonna be able to blitz, perk up the A gap sometime. Sometimes he gonna be able to stun it. Sometimes he gonna be able to show blitz and drop out of it. A lot of different things. And I'm excited to see Perk be in that role because one of the things I always said going back to last year, and I know a lot of Tiger fans didn't want to hear this, I wanted to see him be used as a true linebacker as it pertains to his evaluation to the NFL. Right? We could be selfish all we want and say, man, line him up on the edge and rush him every down. And he go finish the season with 10, 12 sacks. But is that really going to help his development as a linebacker? Is that really going to help his draft stock? It's not. And I think Blake had a real conversation with Perk and with Brian Kelly. Look, we going to use him as an edge rusher sometime and let him come off the edge. We also going to do him. We also going to benefit him too, and make sure we put him in that linebacker spot so he can get evaluated properly. And I think that's fair. And also that helps with recruiting because of what happened is other programs will use that against you. Man, look how they use Perk. Yeah, he had 10, 12 sacks, but he didn't get evaluated properly by the NFL. Now he fell to the 5th round. And I think Blake and Brian Kelly and that staff understands that. And I think you're going to see Perk be used in a multiple different ways this year when you got all the guys surrounding him. Exactly. And I think that was a big part of what they did with that portal class, man. They got a lot of guys that can get after the passer, and it's not going to be a whole bunch of pressure on Perk.
And I completely agree because, like, look, this is a situation that might, it might be a little confusing, but in my head, you never know what you got till it's gone. You don't want to see him go to the NFL, show all this in his bag, and everybody at LSU be like, damn, where was that? Where was the dropping in coverage? Where was the, showing off your spy ability, whatever the case may be? Even dial it back to Tyrann Mathieu, right? What if all you saw, G, from Tyrann Mathieu was one aspect of his game? You never got to see him do everything. You never got to see him fly around across the field and be the elite athlete that inevitably got him to New York City as a Heisman finalist. Like, you do have to put people in a situation to show you their true potential, how high they can really climb, how much they can really do. It's a test. Not a lot of people fully comprehend that, though. They look at production. They look at statistics. Defensive statistics sometimes go underappreciated. Sometimes the dirty work just gets ignored. Sometimes it ain't.
You got to be able to translate. You got to be able to translate.
I agree. And I think that's the biggest focus. Another one, cornerback room. Now you get to see it get finalized. Ain't gonna be no more speculating. I, in my head, think Mansour Delane is your best DB all around. I think that's your CB1. Now, my question is, who's he gonna be paired with? He got a lot of names. Top 2 that are getting floated around: Ashton Stamps, Jakeem Jackson. So, gonna be able to figure that out as well. But I wanted to talk to you about DJ Picket because I feel like the early enrollee side of it, a lot of people talk about adjusting to the college life, the new city, just the overall responsibilities. You get to play in spring ball, but they don't think about how much different and how much like you really gain from that 3 to 4 month period. It's not just spring ball. It's not just. It's also showing face around the building, getting rapport and trust with a coaching staff, having them be like, all right, cool, we could throw him out in the mix. I know what he's capable of. It's a lot more of the relationship building. Do you think DJ Pickett could potentially throw his name in the hat as a cornerback to get thrown into that starting rotation? Maybe not week 1, but let's say, I don't know, week 5, week 6. How much did this early enrollee help? And then cornerback room, what you think and how you feeling?
We all know football is a violent sport, so anything can happen any week where he's inserted into the starting lineup. I think he's going to be one of the first corners rotating in, especially at the outside early on in the season. I think that spring helped him out tremendously. C-Ray, from the conversations I've had with Corey Raymond, he feels like DJ Pickett has a chance to be one of the best cornerbacks he's ever coached. Right?
Ooh.
Still has a lot to learn and still has a lot to show. But when you look at the length, the measurables, the ability, the speed, the athleticism, he got it. Now you just got to go out there and show it. And I think you will see DJ Pickett start a few games this year. And it might only be 2 or 3 games, but I think it will be a point in time where he starts. And it's going to be hard for them to keep him off the field. You will see him rotating in a ton this year to help that back end out.
I'm excited to see it too, because now the first thing that jumps out of my mind is, and I'm not putting no comparison because he's going to be one-on-one. He's not going to be anybody else. He's going to be DJ Pickett. But now you get to see him in the same situation, similar to Derek Stingley. Like, look, you ain't here year 1, so that year 2, that year 3, it's going to look even better. It's exponential. It's not a slow, steady climb. If you get SEC experience, like you're talking about in the first rotation in CB3, whatever the case may be, man goes down, you in there, you will see a night and day difference with DJ Pickett from how good he looks now to how great he gonna look this offseason, by the bowl game, next year when he's the guy. You're looking at a future LSU star right here. This could be, like C-Ray said, one of the best.
He got a shot. He got a shot. He still got to go out there and prove it under them lights.
Yep.
Because you know, once them lights come, people nuts get a little tight.
So your legs might shake, your stomach might get a little nervous.
It's a little different in Death Valley now when you got 100,000 fans screaming.
I mean, look at that, G. It look like that's like everybody in your mama. I don't even know. That's too packed out. That's a headache waiting to happen in Tiger Stadium. Let's talk about offensive line real quick. Last focus. This is the biggest focus. I had to save it for last. Best for last, if you will. Couple of questions I got for you. Who gets the nod at center is the biggest one. Is it DJ Chester? Is it Braylon Moore? You got a million reasons as to why you haven't seen a depth change or why somebody's here, why somebody's there. I'm going to throw my reasoning out, and then I'll let you react to it as well. I think, one, obviously, transfers got to settle. You can't just show up at a new university and just, bow, I'm starting you over all these guys that have been here. It's a slow, process. You got to see what they made of. You got to see how they translate. Make them earn it a little bit. Let's keep that locker room dynamic tight. But with the DJ Chester side of it, I think it is really important to find out what spot you're going to be in. I'm going to dial it back to what you said last week. You got time with him. You got eligibility left. He's going to be around. So whatever position you put him in this year is probably going to be the position he'll be in next year. So I think it's really, really, really pivotal to be able to see, okay, is he the center? Is he the guard? And then stick him in that spot and leave him there so he can be able to develop and grow and be an anchor for this 5-man front.
I think when you get ready to watch this LSU team play Clemson in week 1, I would be surprised if these not the 5 starters on the offensive line. Tyree Adams at left tackle, DJ Chester at left guard, Braylon Moore at center, Thompson at right guard, Weston Davis at right tackle. Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if that's not the starting 5 when you see them take the field against Clemson. DJ Chester is somebody that is going to have versatility. Well, if something doesn't work out with Braylon Moore at center, which I think he will because he did a hell of a job at Virginia Tech, they can always insert DJ Chester back at center. Yep. But I think that's the ideal starting lineup. Unless something happens during fall camp where somebody, maybe Bo Bordelon, inserts himself and takes over that spot. Maybe Mabinga says, Not so fast, DJ Chester. I played a lot of left guard last year. I got that spot. What's the big 5-star offensive lineman?
Cohen Eckles. Oh yeah, Solomon Thomas too.
Solomon Thomas. I think he liked that. The Solomon Thomas come in and say, Weston Davis, Tyree Adams. Not so fast. I'm coming start as a true freshman like Will Campbell and Emory Jones. So, and I wouldn't be surprised to see those battles during fall camp. But if I had to put my money on it, if I was a betting man and I wanted to get on FanDuel right now and say who I thought was going to be the starting lineup for LSU offensive line, that'd be the 5 that I would go with.
I like it. That's what I'm thinking as a tackles for excuse me, for sure. Tyree Adams, Weston Davis. On the mans, on the sides. Guard. That's gonna be hard to predict because it's all relying on that center. Once that center gets named, then you probably gonna see the other one slide to that left guard spot. Because if you're good enough to be center, you're good enough to be blindside guard. And I do think Josh Thompson is your right guard. And then now that opens up the floor for, like you said, Paul Mubanga, Cohen Eckles, Solomon. Don't forget about Carius Curran. The future is bright for sure. Because even if you keep Paul, you keep Cohen, you keep Carius and Solo, that's 4 your 5 rolling in. You still got DJ Chester. You still got somebody to put all your chips on. This year could be a little limbo period for Brad Davis, but next year after, they got a foundation. They got a solid room.
I can't really speak too much on Josh Thompson, the guard that came from Northwestern. I know he's a good player, solid player for sure. But Braylon Moore is really good. Like, he going to get drafted, bro.
And then that just bolsters your case for the next generation. You talking about Lamar Brown? Hey, Lamar Brown, what better university than the one that just put out Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Miles Frazier, Garrett Dellinger? Year before that, you got Anthony Bradford getting thrown in there. Now, welcome to the mix, Braylon Moore. This is gonna keep adding stars to Brad Davis's belt, as full of stars at this point. I mean, dude got a damn championship belt in terms of what he's been able to show. Let's talk about this baseball update real quick. The regional last night. Baseball is so damn late, G. I mean, good Lord. First game of the regional gets pushed back. At this point, if you go into the box, bring a tent, a sleeping bag, a pillow, a blanket, something. You're going to be there all night, dog. You're going to be there for a long time. You're going to be getting nice and comfortable. Unfortunately, LSU was not that comfortable last night. Lost 10-4 to Little Rock Baseball. Everybody's shocked, but look, it ain't over yet. It ain't done. We talked a little bit about it pre-stream. Game 1, you saw Anthony Ianson. Game 2, you saw Cade Anderson. You were down to your third pitcher. The first 2 pitchers picked back-to-back shutouts. Now you back to reality a little bit, but look, you're still fighting. It's a double elimination series. You're not out of it. This ain't March Madness, G, where it's one loss. Get on the bus, start that thing up, and drive back home. Well, you're already home, but you know the deal. They rematch tonight at 8 p.m. If LSU wins the Super Regional, you get more playoff baseball in the box. They're going to stay for a week. Yeah, it'll start Friday and end Sunday. If they lose, then Little Rock's going to have to go find the highest seed in the Clemson Invitational. Then they're going to have to travel. They're going to have to get back on the road. But we ain't going to talk about that too much. Coach Jay Johnson said he's confident LSU's going to bounce back. You win this weekend in the Super Regional potentially, and you on Omaha. So, I mean, look, my last takeaway before I toss it to you is you don't got much time to figure this thing out. You had the 3-0, whatever 4-0 lead to start the game. And obviously, whatever happened. You don't score no more runs. You get blinded up. How do you stop this before it's too late? Because you don't got much time left. You in the thick of it right now. Whatever they have going on tonight need to be their most polished product in a minute. Because you can't do that again.
Who's the starting pitcher for tonight?
Let's go take a look. I don't know if they announced it yet, but we're going to go ahead and try to find it.
Because I didn't see anything online or
let me go check that Twitter machine.
Nothing to indicate who's starting tonight.
Let's see. Let's go check out LSU Baseball on Twitter. Shout out Will Frank. We don't have an official lineup yet, G. We keeping it concealed, close to the vest.
So do you think they start one of their 2 aces tonight on short rest like that?
Nah, I was about to say, this is such a picky spot. You really going to get to dive into Jay Johnson's mind here because if that Super Regional comes around, you're going to have to rely on.
Because that's what you got to be thinking about. If you start one of your 2 aces tonight, they play again, on Friday?
Friday. That's 4 days. he ain't gonna be back till Sunday at the least. So if you do throw an ace tonight, he probably could run Sunday. That's 6 days. It depends on what the pitch count is. Throw him for 5 innings, 4 innings. But it gotta be a damn good 4 to 5
It shouldn't
innings.
even be getting to all this, bro.
I know. It's I'm sweating.
Little Rock had a losing record this year. I'm not mistaken, right?
No, you're not mistaken. They under 500.
They had a losing record last night, man. Like, what are we talking about right now, bro? I ain't gonna lie. I'm concerned for LSU, even if they win tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned because you meant to tell me without them 2 aces, and you can't expect them to be perfect when the playoffs come. I mean, when they get to the Super Regional and when they get to the Omaha, you gotta expect they're gonna hit some kind of adversity at some point too. I think one of the things too, and I forgot who I heard talking about this on a show, but when you watch LSU offense, they just don't have the bats like we used to seeing.
Mm-mm.
They got some guys that can hit the ball. I think if I had to rate their offense 1 to 10, I'll rate it 8.
Okay.
7.5, 8.
6. Yeah.
7.5, 8. You know, but they don't have a offense where you can expect them to score 8 to 10 runs consistently. It just ain't. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-mm.
They might get sporadic every now and then and do it, but they don't have that type of offense, bro. I think where LSU is superior at is you don't see them having too many field errors. You don't see them having too many mental errors. They are on point with that kind of stuff. And them 2 aces been leading them all year. And when you got 2 aces like that, that's gonna put you in a lot of ball games to be able to win, bro. But I think losing that game last night and the way they lost it, they was up 3-0 in the first inning, and let these people come back and beat them 10-4 for your psyche. Even if they win tonight, for your psyche, bro, you can't tell me you got a lot of confidence going into the Super Regional and then if you get past there and get to Omaha, you can't tell me you just fully confident.
You can't.
You can't tell me that. And then what's the first baseman name?
Is it Jared Jones?
Jared Jones. I ain't gonna lie, bro. They gonna have to get him going. Last night I seen Arkansas Lil Rock purposely walk the batter in front of him to get to Jared Jones. And you know what Jared Jones did? Was chasing every pitch and he struck out. And they had 2 on right there. That was a turning point in the game. Like, I want to say they was down 1 run right there. You mean to tell me I'm gonna walk somebody? I know I'm only up 1. I'm gonna put 2 runners on to get to you, because that's how much confidence I got my pitcher going against Jared Jones.
Throwing gas.
And he struck out, bro. He struck out. I think his confidence is down right now. And I want to say what he's in that 5th spot in the batting order or 6. He's somewhere around it. Like he in the middle of that order for sure. Bro, they're gonna need him to hit the ball. They're gonna need his confidence on 10. I'm concerned about the night. I'm not gonna lie. Unless one of them aces pitching tonight, LSU fans, you better watch out.
Man, you know what Iron Mike said, dog? Success breeds confidence. For you to be able to get confident, you got to get some type of success under you. You got to get some type of positive forward momentum. And hey, last night, that was anything but.
I don't care if you had your last pitcher on the roster pitching last night. Shouldn't have lost that game to a team with a losing record.
100% agree. 8 p.m. tonight. Dial your TVs. Tune in. LSU Baseball, trying to keep that season alive. Before we hop out, I want to talk about Tason Hill. All right? Because I got a question for you, G. Fellow Saints fan. Got a, Nostradamus Kappa 2. I heard you call a couple of things. I'm going to give you an opportunity to call something here. So, here's the situation, everybody. Tason Hill tore his ACL last December. And as of right now, per the coaching staff, he's out the entire offseason. I'm talking about OTAs. I'm talking about the mini camp. I'm talking about training camp. I'm talking about everything. Now, for a veteran, that's not the biggest deal. And that's not the moral of the story that I'm about to bring up here. But it does show where he's at in the recovery process. Ian Rappaport, believe it was on the Pat McAfee show, shout out Pat, hops on and says, I think he might miss the early part of the season now. So I'm worrying, G, because I did a little digging. That cap hit is $18 million. Now, we could talk about why the contract's ridiculous. We could talk about why they shouldn't have signed it. But the fact of the matter is, pen hit the paper, and he's guaranteed to get that money. Do you cut ties with Tason Hill because he's not going to be able to produce? Or is he vital enough to the Saints? You got to keep him.
I'm definitely not taking an $18 million cap hit. Nah, we gonna ride this thing out and see when he can come back. If we can get half the season out of him, I'm dealing with it. But this goes back to my point way back in March and February when I kept advocating for the Saints to draft a tight end. I don't know why the Saints did not draft a tight end. They had a lot of tight ends in this draft that they could have went got, and they just chose not to do it. They drafted the tight end from UCLA in the 7th round. That, no disrespect to him, but I don't think he's gonna make the roster. So now we got to depend on Foster Moreau, who I think solid, nothing more, nothing less. Jawan Johnson, I think in the passing game, really good, could help you, but he's not an everyday tight end. So
Right.
that's going to be a hole in the offense that's going to hurt the Saints this year. And if Tason Hill comes back and gives us half the season, live with it. You got to live with it. It is what it is. But I don't think him not being there the first half of the season gonna matter because the Saints gonna struggle to win 5 to 6 games anyway. So he ain't that much of a difference where he could make it. He could put 2 more wins in the win column. It ain't gonna happen. Like, it ain't gonna happen. And I'm curious to see how Kellen Moore gonna use Taysom Hill, because if you go back off his recent history, how he called plays, I don't ever remember him having a player like this that was like a Swiss Army knife. So I'm curious to see how Kellen Moore going to incorporate him into the offense when he does come back.
Push 7 across that plane, get him in there. Big frame, big dude.
I am not excited about the Saints season this year. I'm not.
It's hard to be after everything you see, after everything you hear, after all the changes. It's rough. I ain't even gonna hold you.
I hope they prove me wrong though, because guess what? If they mess around and win 9, 10 games or 11 games and be in the playoff home, I'm gonna be hollering, who that? I'm gonna be hollering. And look, I'm a man. I'm a real dude. I could come and say I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. So I'm telling y'all right now, I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right.
G, I'm gonna side with you on this one. I think you're right too. I ain't gonna lie. Vegas thinks you're right. I think you're right. Shit, the mock drafts think you're right. They got the Saints as a #1 pick already, and we sitting here in June, bro.
Now we ain't that damn bad. God damn, Vegas, #1 pick. Jesus Christ!
Give me a little more credit than that.
Yeah. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. Watch. They're gonna do just like they did last year. We're gonna start off 3-1, and they're gonna lose 9 straight.
Whew.
It's gonna be something crazy like that.
That's gonna be a long holiday stretch in New Orleans.
Because they ain't gonna have. Let's say Tyler Shaw the starting quarterback. They ain't gonna have no film on him, and they ain't gonna know how Kellen Moore gonna choose to use him. We gonna catch some people with their draws down, sneak a couple wins, and then the rest of the league gonna catch up, and they gonna fall off like a bad bag of dope. Hope I'm wrong when I say that, though. I hope I'm wrong when I say that. Jesus Christ.
Man, it's gonna be an interesting year, G. I ain't gonna lie. We about to hop out of here. We're gonna be live Wednesday at 12:30 again. I'll give you a little glimpse into what we're gonna talk about Wednesday. I'm gonna break down the toughest SEC environments. We're gonna do a little NBA Finals prediction because game 1 is Thursday, G. But before we hop out, I want to let everybody know the deal. What we laughing up? What we scheming? SEC Media Day is gonna be on the 2nd week of July. We're gonna take that trek to Atlanta, and we're gonna go ahead and boost on the ground for y'all. We're gonna straight up go in there. Talk to some head coaches, talk to some captains. We're going to get some real deal information, G. Ain't no more speculation. We in the water now. Now you're going to really be able to mix around and find some stuff out. So everybody stay tuned because it ain't over. Matter of fact, just getting started, huh, G?
Hey, all we doing is elevating over here.
Up to some.
Salt and pepper.
Come on. Don't play. You know the deal. Appreciate it. Everybody. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Like I said, 12:30 on Wednesday. Y'all hit the subscribe button. Go follow my guy G on socials. Every single link he got is in the description. Go ahead and click it. Go ahead and follow. You know the drill. And y'all have a good rest of the day. G, appreciate you.